Oh, so proudly we hail at the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. You all may be seated. We will now have the welcome by Mr. Derek T. Johnson, Assistant Principal of George Wythe High School.
Good evening. I hope I can talk loud enough for you all to hear me. I want to face you when I'm speaking. I don't have to back to you.
Sir, could you actually use the microphone? We have folks streaming online.
I guess I will not be facing. Once again, good evening. My name is Derek Johnson. I'm one of the assistant principals here at George Wythe. And greetings, George Wythe family and community. Glad to see all of y'all this evening. It is a privilege to work here with this staff, these students, just everyone in this community. I'm so proud to be here. This is my first year. And I hope you have a lot of good questions for us. And just join me in welcoming Mr. Kevin O's to our George Wythe community. Next, we will have the band performance and cheerleading performance in that order.
Good evening, everyone. Excuse me. My name is Luis Martinez, and I'm the Language Justice Coordinator. If anyone needs interpretation from Spanish to from English to Spanish, we have our lovely interpreters by the entrance, and I am now going to make this announcement in Spanish. Bienvenidos a todos a la Escuela Secundaria de George Wythe. Si alguien necesita interpretación del inglés al español, tenemos nuestros intérpretes cerca de la puerta. Por favor, vayan a verlos si necesitan audífonos. And for anyone that is speaking, please speak clearly into the microphones. This is being live streamed, but also our interpreters need to be able to hear what is being said so they can interpret it. Thank you so much.
Let's give them another hand. Oh, you want me to turn it? Oh, I'm sorry. Great performance. Let's give them another hand. We love to see our children perform. At this time, this is a intricate part of the program. Let's eat. What y'all think? So we can go over there, grab a bite to eat. We have some delicious sub sandwiches and some water. That's good for the body.
Please.
So we can go over here and enjoy dinner at this time, and then we'll come back with being back over here for the program. Thank you all so much. No order, just help yourself. Okay, well then I have Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, as we proceed with our program, we hope you all have enjoyed dinner, the delicious sandwiches. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? We'll be proceeding with the program at this time. We will call up our very own Debbie Gomez, who will be doing the introduction of Mr. Oates, the principal here at George Wythe High School. Let's give Debbie a hand. Debbie.
Dear George Wythe families, greetings to his new Bulldog family. My name is Debbie Gomez Rivera. It is with extreme enthusiasm that I introduce our new principal of George Wythe High School. I am honored to have been selected to be a part of this community meet and greet. Mr. Olds has over 20 years of experience in education, ranging from substitute teacher, special education, coordinator of alternative education, athletic director, assistant principal, and middle school principal as well. He is most proud of leading from a humanistic approach and meeting students where they are. He considers himself a player's coach or a kid's principal and believes children want to know you care before they care what you know. It is his desire to meet with his new school community in efforts to gain their trust and confidence as a vested part of your children's lives. He has spent time in the last few months getting to know his student population, learning more about their interests and personalities, while encouraging and reinforcing the rich academic and cultural tradition here at George Wythe. His goal is to ensure students learn and grow in an educational environment that is conducive for all students. In recognizing the different learning styles of his diverse student population, he will seek to address the whole child as well. In today's society, students deal with a great deal of anxiety, peer pressure, and environmental stressors that don't allow all students to thrive. It takes a village to raise a child, and he is excited to have an opportunity to share in your children's lives and experiences. It is the mission of George Wythe's staff, parents, and community to provide a quality education, empowering students to become responsible world citizens and lifelong learners. He wants to continue on the path as a strong instructional leader who recognizes the impact of social emotional learning, positive school culture, and the supportive climate with the responsible adults in the building as well. It is important for our school community to have a sense of behavioral consistency through positive interventions and support while utilizing restorative practices to alter negative behaviors. Also, cultural diversity is high on his priority list of ensuring we support patience, tolerance, and understanding of other cultures and ethnicities. So, along with teachers and staff, he aims to work hard to continue a legacy of success established by George Wythe High School through strong relationship building with parents, students, and community stakeholders. He will focus on character education, common core skills, data-informed decisions, and provide a continued and consistent implementation of a rigorous curriculum to increase the achievement of all students in our building. He looks forward to working with you as a team to help each student at George Wythe High School to meet our goals and have a successful school year. I introduce to you my principal, Mr. Olds.
Debbie, honestly, I'm looking for that guy. Sometimes we don't take ourselves seriously sometimes because we get so caught up in the moment. And when you hear someone actually introducing you, you start to say, wait a second, I get it. I understand what the hard work is about. But before I really get into the nuts and bolts of why we're here, I need to thank some people for making this night happen. Honestly, our superintendent, I've been modeling myself after this man because of his heart work, his humanism, his passionate desire to see our school division flourish, but to see our school board members and our chair, Stephanie Rizzi from the 5th District, Don Page from the 8th District, support these efforts in that way, it tells me that, Mr. Oles, you're in the right place at the right time for the right reasons in the right moment. I also would like to appreciate Dana Fox and Kim Wilson for being here, because ultimately it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to build a new building. Even though on the flyers, it states meet and greet Principal Oles, I'm not the sum of the whole. These ladies and gentlemen to my right are absolutely stellar administrators in their own right. So we are all principals in our own respect inside of George Wythe. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our administrative team. We have Donovan Tucker, Derek T. Johnson, Felicia Artist, and Jennifer Blackwell. That is our administrative team, but we also have unsung heroes and deans of students as well. We have our Dean of Academics, Mr. Kakim Fung. Our Dean of Culture and Climate is Ms. Tanya Brown Fletcher. And our Dean of Freshman Academy is Mr. Raymond Wallace. I think it's important that we mention those guys because ultimately it does take a village to raise a child. And our mantra from this year is called #change the narrative. Failure is not an option. I'm not here to sell you anything, but I am here to talk about some things. I am here to hear about some things. But I want to let you know something. As our community stakeholders, we will make a difference. Because if you know about your history, this is the Southside High School. So when we started to plan this event out, there's no way we could get this done without recognizing that we are about kids first. So why would we sit in this arena at this moment, at this time, and not recognize the beautiful things that are happening inside of this building? Our JROTC program, led by Colonel Johnson and Colonel Calloway. Our cheerleaders, Ms. Brooks, and our band. Can we go to the next slide, please? At the beginning, we always talk about business as usual. It's not business as usual. This is unusual business. Our students are suffering. We talk about a learning loss from June, July to August, and then beginning school after Labor Day. Imagine that learning loss coupled with COVID, pain, grief, anguish, peer pressure. The social emotional learning of our students is struggling. This is not a night about pointing fingers or saying who's not doing what. What I'm asking as a village, that we take time out to take a breath, number one. and then figure out how do we bridge the gap between home and school. Most of the time as administrators, we spend 95% of our time with 5% of the population. What does that mean, Mr. Oles? That means that if we had a multi-tiered system of support in this building that allowed us to operate from a positive behavioral interventions and supports, here's what that would look like. That means 100% of our students would come into the building with reasonable expectations. But guess what? We know that every kid is not going to operate in the same modality. So unfortunately, when everybody's walking one way, we're going to see a few kids go in the other direction. That means that kid needs to be targeted and identified as what? As a tier 2 intervention. That's when we move into a check-in, check-out situation so that we can now start healing this student holistically. Because it's not about suspending students. One of our goals is to improve our chronic absenteeism. So why would we then go ahead and start suspending kids out of school? So we have to be able to address that holistically. What do? That means that we have to have a team approach. And we have to start utilizing the responsible adults in the building, because oftentimes people say, well, we need help. We need support. I'm going to be real honest with you. I believe in what they call collective efficacy. So we did an activity in a staff meeting one day, and we just took a poll to talk about the number of degrees that we had in this building, the number of license certifications that we have in this building, the number of years we have associated with our own professional lives. The numbers were staggering. Once we realized that, we put those poster boards around the room, and then I asked one question. Why go outside of this building to fix anything that we have the capabilities of doing ourselves? I say again, this is hard work, but it's hard work. We here because of our students, not in spite of them. Our culture and climate is something that we talked about in my interviews for this position. I also need to be clear about something. The principal of George Wythe passed away a couple of days prior to school beginning. Can you imagine coming into a building where your instructional leader has passed away? And now we're asking teachers, support staff, and 1,391 students to come in and think about English, math, science, and social studies. Considering the fact that they have all been linked to some type of loss during COVID, as all of us have. So when you talk about the socio-emotional side of things, we need to change the narrative. What does that mean? That means with social media. We had a student the other day just receive a $500 check for a forensic essay contest. But I didn't see a whole bunch of fanfare about that. And so while we're hashtag changing the narrative, I need social media outlets, news outlets to reach out to us when we're doing good work, strong work, hard work. Children want to know you care before they ever care about what you know. So we're leading from a sense of humanism, understanding, compassion, and love. However, tough love never hurt anyone. But you have to look at the data to talk about what do we do next. I want to be clear about something. You can go online and look at our school quality profile if you like. We can go nowhere but up. But that doesn't mean that the students in this building don't deserve the best teachers, the best classrooms, the best structure, the best organization, the best principals. It's important. So how do we address those things? With our counselors. We have 5 counselors in the building so that we can start triaging situations and sending them to our counselor to help us adjust maladaptive behaviors in the building, to talk about conflict resolution, peer-to-peer mediation. These are all things that our kids are struggling with. You should hear some of the conversations. It's not that they talk that way because they want to. Sometimes they talk that way because that's all the words that they know. It's unfortunate. So that becomes their social appropriateness. So you might hear bruh from time to time. But if I have a student who's compliant with what Mr. O's is saying, listening with the 2 active ears that they have, we can make a change because we can make a difference. And we literally have students in this building who are willing to work. We get a bad rap. But I am here to tell you, we're going to change the narrative in the South Side of Virginia. And for the sake of time, I don't want to go through this PowerPoint, but I want to show you something because I don't think we often get a chance to see what's really going on inside of what most people consider a trauma-induced building. But because it's trauma-induced, we now have to be trauma responsive. I want you to take a look at this video presentation. And then we'll talk a little bit more after that. But this is what's happening on Crutchfield. We can end it. The silence was intentional. The silence was intentional. We wanted you to take note of the body language, the posturing, the embraces, the disposition, the eyes. It's the key to the soul. You saw happiness. You saw spurts of joy. You saw resilience. You saw kids coming back from suspension, hugging you because they are appreciative of the structured love that you're giving them and showing them. This is what our students need. It is what they require. It is what we demand of ourselves as administrators in the building. It is what I'm asking you as our school community stakeholders. Let's meet children where they are. Let's be advocates for them. Let's be the surrogate parents in the building. This team, I say again, we are here because of our students. I'm a poem or a words kind of guy, but I believe out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I think whatever gods may be from my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. For beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horrors of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. For it matters not how straight the gate or how charged with punishment the scroll, for I am the master of my fate and the captain of my soul. That poem is a direct representation of the internal fortitude that we have as an administrative team, and all of our kids in this building have that resilience. They're going to help us change the culture in this building. They're going to help us change the climate in this building. So when I met with them, because this is my 102nd day, so when I met with them the first week, I let each one of our students know that I'm not going to be responsible for the culture and the climate in this building. You will be. We're going to put structure in place. We're going to put parameters in place, and we're going to allow you to make decisions. This is what we call a least restrictive environment. It's not the penitentiary. It's not the pipeline to prison. And we will not run it as a jailhouse. Our students have the ability to make good decisions, but we have to give them the opportunity to make good decisions. We're not going to put our kids out of class, because ultimately that puts them out of school, and ultimately that makes them dropouts. That's what's going to change the narrative. I want all of you to know that it does take a village, again, but we're in this together. And at this moment, I would like to take the opportunity for us to now open up the floor so that you guys can ask us any questions you have in regards to whatever, because this is a transparent conversation, and I want us to be open and candid about who we are, where we've been, where we are, and where we're trying to go. Is that okay? All right. The floor is open. Awesome.
Hello, beautiful people. I don't know all of you, thank God. I have two boys, one that graduated last year and one graduating this year. But as a Richmond Public School graduate and parent, I just wanted to ask, the issues that we have at Wythe are commonplace amongst all of the schools. Are you guys all working together to come up with ideas? Because it seems like the kids are experiencing the same things on the East End, South Side, West End, so just, are you guys collaborating to make sure that those things are Richmond Public Schools versus just George Wythe or Armstrong or, Thank you.
I think that's a very good question. I'm actually glad you said that. Most of the time when I see the negative news stories, I often think about having come from, another South Side school before I was here. The issues that are played here in our building are not just synonymous with George Wythe. They are synonymous with things that are happening in the state of Virginia, but across the nation. And so this is why we're talking about the social emotional learning of our students and making sure that we have the trauma responsiveness that we need to be able to address the whole child. We have moments in pockets of the building where we have a mindfulness room where kids can literally unwind, and take a breath. But a lot of people don't know about it because we're so busy being reactive to a student's behavior that we don't take time to get to the root cause of what that means. So let's talk about just a little bit of data with that. I don't think people really realize that we have 59.6% of our demographics in the building are Hispanic students, and 39.4% are African American students. So I want you to think about this respectively. If you're in a building with 60% of your students who are Hispanic and you're making announcements in the morning, all in English, then we're missing 60% of our population. So how do we expect for 60% of our students to know what behavioral expectations look like or academic expectations if we're not communicating to them in their native language so that we can now create that sense of buy-in and that culture change and that culture shift? So those are things that we are doing to make sure that we are bridging the gap. And yes, we have professional learning communities within the district that allow for us to be able to have conversations with other building principals and other teachers as well to ensure that we are utilizing best practices from an instructional approach, but also from a behavioral perspective as well. And honestly, our population is transient sometimes. So it's like a triad that we deal with kids on the verge of Chesterfield, Richmond. And so they attend maybe 3 schools, maybe Meadowbrook, and Huguenot, George Wythe. And so we have a really good conversation with those administrators and counselors because they need us and we need them. So absolutely, we do have those pivotal conversations, and it does mean something when we have the ability to get that that buy-in from a kid because we knew someone at the former school. All of those things make a difference. But because we recognize those barriers that allow for our kids not to be successful sometimes, this is what we start with. Okay, great question. I appreciate that. And my admin team, you have anything that you can chime in about that as well? Come again?
Once again, what she brought up a real good point.
Mhm.
Okay, even though I'm hearing stating that, you got to explain along with English speaking. Okay, but the only thing we need to do all. I'm an old-time student from George, well, it was Thomas Jefferson's, George Wythe, and Huguenot.
Okay.
Okay, so as this young lady had brought up, she brought up a real good point, sir. So you still haven't addressed what she asked. That's the one this is my recollection. She asked the question, is all the schools in general, the public schools, is coordinating with the messages about what's going on with the school system. So right now, I haven't heard a clear definition. Are you all actually participating with other schools and dealing with?
Absolutely. And
Yes,
that's why I use the terminology professional learning communities, because that's what we call them in education. And that means that we are collaborating cohesively to talk about the issues and concerns that we are dealing with or our buildings are plagued with constantly. For instance, principals meet once a month, and and assistant principals meet once a month. We call them cluster meetings. In those cluster meetings, we talk about program issues. We talk about behavioral concerns. We talk about how we can address things in our building, and we talk about best practices from other buildings. Like, what are you doing to address this? And maybe a principal from another school might say, well, here's how we deal with attendance, or here's how we deal with going to the lunchroom. Here's where our care and safety members, here's how they operate. So absolutely, that's called.
So in other words speaking, when you saying this is how y'all operate, meaning this, say for instance, like yesterday morning while I was at work, I seen a kid with a 357. okay? And it's kind of like shock a whole lot of, a whole lot of us co-workers. So that's why this morning I called up to the school and I said, when was y'all going to have a PTA meeting? Because I would like to hear and sit in.
Mhm.
All my kids is grown. Pretty much all of them is grown. But I just wants to sit in and hear. Because certain things, to my recollections, when I was going to school,
Mhm.
it was more so peer pressure, okay? Even though you have Hispanics coming to the school too, okay, speaking different languages
Mhm.
versus to the kids who speak in English,
Mhm.
okay, even though they have what they call it slang language. When I come past here going to work in the morning, in the evenings, I'm seeing kids, everybody is separate. So it's not like the kids is together. Once upon a time, only thing, we used to say prayer. I don't know how old you, but I'm 56. We used to say prayer. We used to honor God and pledge allegiance to the flag.
Mhm.
It wasn't for a woman who stopped all of this stuff back in the 70s. So the only thing I'm just saying, some of this retaliation, maybe because we don't have prayer no more, even though everybody deals with different belief. So the way I'm looking at it, we need to bring God back into these kids' life instead of switching off on what is it that you're trying to do. Because right now, I feel as though that some of these kids need to speak up and be whistleblowers. When I say whistleblowers, meaning if you see something going wrong, speak up, okay?
Okay.
Speak up what you see, because life is too good and too precious. You want to live to see these kids supposed to be our what? Our forthcoming,
Mhm.
okay? So what I'm looking at right now, we need to have unity. I understand we having different cultures coming here to the United States and everything, but what language that all Blacks was brought up on? It was English. Okay, we had to learn how to speak English. So, okay, so they have different languages now.
Mhm.
So the only thing I'm just projecting to, okay, now we need to have unity. And from seeing that gun, it upset me because life is too short. And then they're gonna get shorter for a child to bring a gun into the school. And I know some of these kids up in here have seen these children come up in here with it, but scared to blow the whistle.
Well, I'm listening.
So,
And-
but only thing I'm just saying, sir, and dealing with this lady saying, what is y'all doing in communication amongst all the public schools? Because right now, we need unity and we need more love. And I understand what you're saying, that we want the kids to participate and state what they want to be done in the school system. Right now, these kids need to talk. They need to speak out.
I
They
agree.
really do. They really need to speak out in order for you all adults to know what to do.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the only thing I'm here for right now, in the name of Jesus, because God been good to me, because I lived and I survived everything. So only thing I'm just saying, I want to hear what is you all going to do for these children to have a better education, to be able to commute with anyone around in the school if they see anything going wrong. We don't need no child to lose their life, okay?
I want to believe that I have addressed that question. I want to believe that. But there are things we like to, what I call triage situations. But we are living in a time where there's a code in the streets, and it's a no snitch code.
And see,
and-
that's the key, the no snitch.
However, because it's a no snitch code, that really makes our job even more difficult. So when you're saying that, you're portraying something as if we're not being vigilant in ensuring that we are addressing the needs of our students, more specifically, the maladaptive behaviors that are presented. And this is not an adversarial statement. I want to be, clear about that.
Okay.
But I do believe in having real-time conversations. And because this is what we do. It's not a joke and it's not a job. Our kids are at stake. We're losing students every day.
And that's what I'm saying.
And so when you talk in specifics, I can't be specific with you about what are we doing, because when you say we need kids to speak up, absolutely. But here's what we need. We need parents to have those conversations at home.
Okay, and that's,
And so when you have that conversation at home, then they come to school and we have an issue, then it's a whole lot easier for us to be able to garner information from a student, because they know full well the home training has said, if something happens, if I see something, say something. But I want to be clear about something as well. We are moving in a direction of addressing all of those things, but we can't solely be responsible for that.
okay.
Ma'am, I just want to make sure that other members of the community have an opportunity to
Oh,
speak.
I honor, I got this, believe me, brother.
Ma'am, we have a lot of members from the community that have come out tonight, and I'd like to give them the opportunity to ask their questions.
Oh,
But
that's no problem, sir. I could sit down and that's no problem. But the only thing I want to say, sir, thank you. And
My email address is kolds2@rvaschools.net.
I'll get it before I leave.
Absolutely. And I will be glad to have an individual conversation with you.
Good evening. First of all, thank you for the presentation. As a community, we know, like you said, it takes a village. Let us know what we can do to help you to really reach those goals and soar for the best for our kids over here. Excuse me, at George Wythe. So communicate to us, open line of communication, talk to us, and just let us know what the need is and what we can do to help you. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one answer to that, and I think this might be the linchpin. PTA. PTA. If we could get more parental involvement with the PTA, it's something to be said about a parent that's visible in school. Because when you have a voice on the PTA, you might be invisible inside of the building, but you are visible with the structure of the building. And that's what we need. We need more parents to come out and to support after-school activities. When we have back-to-school night, that's the number one activity we need you involved in. Is back-to-school night. So we can start being proactive in celebrating students as opposed to reactive in the failures. We're on a 4x4 schedule that has allowed for us to be able to address intervention and remediation at the same time. But the 4x4 schedule could really enhance a student's academic success. But we're so busy reaching back with the 4x4 trying to address the failures when we should really be catapulting forward with the 4x4 schedule and putting students in AP courses and not applied studies. So I say again, I appreciate and I applaud your statements, Mom. Yeah, I appreciate you, because it does take a village. And parents want to know, what are we doing in real time? But if you really want to hit the root of what we do, we need you involved. We need you involved, because it does mean something. So PTA, Ms. Brown Fletcher, when is the next PTA meeting? We will put that PTA meeting on remind for you, and we'll send a blast out through social media as well. Okay? Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm here to address, my name is Maceo Jones, and I ponder the things that y'all addressed today, and I seen it on the TV. I'm an alumni of this school, something like 50 years ago. I was a Bulldog, George Will, participating in basketball, football, track, and I supported this community as well as the school board members and Mr. Williams used to be he used to be the principal here. And you said that the principal here, died approximately 2 to 3 days before you were enlisted, and you took on a big responsibility, sir. Because you said you got 1,391 students here. I understand, I understand the structure that you're dealing with. I understand the structure of the staff that you're dealing with. I understand, the mentality of the students that you're dealing with, When I said this, I said, the school board members, they are doing an outstanding job when they have to deal with thousands of students in school, And you're building. When you're building, first you must have discipline, and that discipline don't start at school. It started at home. Also, you stipulated, that you also had something like, 56% Hispanic, 38% Black, and other minorities, And when you said that, I said, wow, And it's a language barrier. But that language barrier, it starts at home. It starts with God first. Start with God. Trust in God. Trust all your fails in God. Because God, He's the judge of all judges, ruler of all rulers, king of all kings. And I say this to say, it started in discipline. You said one thing was right. We're not running a prison. Because when you have a prison, you have to have your hand down. When you have your hand down, you got opposition. And when there's opposition, there's consequences. And those consequences start, when those kids come to school. They must want to learn first. That is the main idea and goal. Education, academics. And it starts where? At home. It don't start with these video games, These structured games, Everything is digital now, That digital world has really messed these kids up mentally. So it's like you said, it's not your fault. It's not the school board's fault, It's the whole community fault. And I'm here, to address this issue because I seen it on TV. And we live in DC, we live in Ohio, and I was raised in DC. I was raised in DC and Virginia. I went to school in Richmond, Virginia, Southside Blackwell area. And when I seen this on TV, I said, I have to come and address this issue. Because, I'm a part of this community. And me and my wife, we paid our $31,000 this year in tax last month. $31,000. They said they didn't want it or postponement. They said they wanted all in cash. So we had to open our bank accounts up. But I want to know, what structure is when I'm pouring my cash on the community. And I seen the school. This is a beautiful school at one time. And I seen the structure of the school. And I couldn't believe the taxpayers had let the structure went down because this was a beautiful school. Why not keep it up? Why not maintain it? Taxpayers need to put money in these schools, build these schools up academically, If you saying guns are coming into school, they have metal detectors, You mentioned one thing, a snitch code, And the snitch code, They says the no Cisco, but behind closed doors is a different story.
Facts.
It's a different story. It takes a really stand-up person, right, really right, to put his pants on or put a skirt on, right, and what? Accept their responsibilities. Own up to being a lady, a young lady, or a young man. Accept your responsibilities. And once again, right, it start at school. I'm not gonna hold you up because, right, y'all have a whole structure to address. But I just want to like to address this question, right? It started in discipline, right? It started at home first. But when they come to school, I understand you don't want to put them out of school. But one bad apple holds the bunch. The whole bunch, it spoils it. And once one kid see one kid get away with something, oh, I can do that. They didn't do anything to him, right? So our parents don't want our kids, right, to get put out of school and expelled from school, right? Because it takes away and it causes, right, increase, right, in what? Dropouts. Education, you denying them. You don't want to deny them anything, but what? It starts with oneself, self-esteem, determination, drive, incentive, goals and objectives.
Absolutely.
Right? And I'm saying this, sir, right? I know you got your hands full. The assistant principal, all your staff here, right? But I heard a young lady named Miss Reyes, right? She spoke, and we was getting ready to go to the Carolinas, me and my wife. And I said, I can't go there today, right? I have to go right to George Wythe, right? And speak about this and address this because I'm a part of the community. I blame myself too. The mistakes I made, right? The mistakes I made, I understand. I ran the street. But what? God came back in my life and said, stop it. Elevate yourself, right? Help the community, help the people. It's about people. It doesn't matter what color y'all or what skin color y'all, right? We all right worship one God. And it's unity, solidarity, and justice. And the main is of peace and love. So I like to address that. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Okay.
Last time. But just sitting there listening, I'm not a graduate of George Wythe. I went to John Marsh. I'm from the north side. But at the same time, we went to prom together, and she decided to join the armed forces after she graduated. That same year, unfortunately, she was the first and the youngest to die in Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2004. And her name was Leslie Denise Jackson. And today, just sitting there listening, she loved George Wythe. Everything she bled George Wythe. But this year we celebrate 20 years that we graduate from high school. And I would like to start a $5,000 scholarship at George Wythe in her memory to carry on for that effort. So I just want to thank you for that. And like I said, we're here, whatever we can do, just let us know. Thank you.
I can't beat that.
At all.
But that is community at work.
That's Richmond Public Schools at work.
Oh, absolutely. That's the movement. That's the spirit.
Yep.
That's the heart work. And that's what this is about. Thank you.
I was gonna take up a lot of your time, but she did bring up a point, and all of y'all are, bringing up about parent involvement. I know for myself, we struggled a lot with homelessness and housing and Richmond redevelopment, and went through all of that. But I say that to say, someone like myself that has worked towards where I am now, it didn't come easy. I had to take all of the jobs where I worked till 8 p.m. And that doesn't leave a lot of time for PTA meeting. So my question is, what can be done with the PTA setup now that we have, a lot more of the communication via video phones and things of that nature to include parents like myself? Because I know everybody in this room knows how much rent and the cost of living in Richmond has affected every single life. I know people with 4 and 5 jobs. It's not feasible to be here and have to work 5 jobs to make rent. So that's my question, is how can we get those parents like myself that go into the job? You're the new person there. So you get the worst shift on the board, but you got these kids that you love. And I was the vice president of the Head Start Policy Council before I started that job. So once I got into it, it was kind of hard because I'm looking at my bills and I'm looking at my baby. So just for the parents like myself that want to be there, but we can't because the rent is so damn high, where are those parents coming in?
Did you say I'm looking at my bills and looking at my baby?
Yes. Because now she's 12. She ain't that was Head Start. So I worked from that time until now to get myself to where I could be here tonight. I worked till 8 last night, but not on Wednesday.
I want to be emphatic about this, and I'm going to say it. Your absence at a PTA meeting does not mean your voice cannot be heard. You send any one of us a concern of yours that needs to be addressed at a PTA meeting, and it will be on that agenda.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. That's all we're looking for. It's like, I hate that sometimes we get the bad raps that parents don't want to be there, but a lot of times just looking at the way the economy going, I know you spoke about the socio-emotional, but the socio-economic as well. As a mother of boys, your boys look at you. So if he know I'm down, if he know I'm beat down, they'll look to try to fill in those gaps. And that's what a lot of the problem is. These kids are trying to fill in the gaps.
Mom, if just from a personal perspective, I'm the youngest of 10 kids. My mom died when I was 6 years old. I was raised by a 26-year-old sister who raised the last 5 kids in low-income housing. I know what that looks like. I know what being hungry looks like, but I know what love looks like.
Absolutely.
I know what commitment looks like.
Absolutely.
I know what dedication looks like. I know what working for something looks like, but I also know what giving back looks like.
Right.
It's real conversations in real time. We lead from a place of passion, a place of love, of empathy, and support. Any student in this gym can tell you what I bring to the table because I wear my heart on my sleeve because I am George Wythe students. I am a result of those type of issues and concerns. So because I live on principles, that's what makes you a principal.
Absolutely.
So we have to do some things differently. We have to operate differently, but we can't be afraid to have courageous conversations.
Right.
So that means going into the communities and talking to our parents, engaging our parents and our student community so that when we need help from the community, thank you, Reverend Winfrey, for that. When we need help from the community, Reverend Mine, we get that.
Right.
So it means something to me. We will support you in that.
Yes, please
and
do.
never believe that because you're at work, we don't support you and your child.
Right. That's all.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm asking. We not at home, just sitting there not waiting. We want to be involved too. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Good evening. My name is Jackie Robinson. I am a retired school counselor of Richmond Public Schools. I now have a 16-year-old granddaughter whom I'm raising, who attends George Wythe High School. My granddaughter Josiah has addressed this issue with morning arrival. She said it's delayed. It's like a traffic jam in the morning. And she would like that addressed, and because she wants to get to class on time. And that sometimes keeps her from getting to class on time. She's here every day. She has 100% attendance, but I looked at her tardies and I did not like it. And she said it's because of the traffic jam in the morning. So how can we address the traffic jam?
Great question. You know, sometimes when you're trying to address issues holistically, our number one objective is to maintain a safe and secure learning environment.
Okay.
And because we are plagued with some of the issues concerning safety in this building, it is of paramount concern that every one of our students come in the doors in the morning, through morning arrival, into or walk through metal detectors, and then are wanded by our care and safety members. It is so unfortunate that we have to do that. But in doing so, it takes time. And we open the doors at 8:45. Normally, we're making bus announcement that all buses are in right around 9:05, no more than 9:10. But students who are coming in off the bus, we make that bus announcement because students shouldn't be marked tardy if we have not made the statement that buses are all in. So she should not have tardies in her report. If we're making the statement buses are all in, that means that at 9:15, if I make that announcement, any kid that came in the building from 8:45 to 9:14, they shouldn't be marked tardy. Now, if you get in at 9:15, I've made the announcement, and you want to make one more loop, that's where the tardy comes in.
Okay.
But that also said, and I'm not saying that that's your child because I know your child, and she does everything that she's supposed to do. But I will say sometimes you get an opportunity, you make one more loop, and the teacher's already said to you, you're going to be marked tardy. So, but to really address that, it was happening a lot later initially because they were all coming in 2 doors. But we've opened up 4 doors. So we now have door number 1 on the Crutchfield side, and then by Auditorium Square. So now we're bringing students in 4 doors through the same morning arrival, because we have care and safety members split up there. And then we also have care and safety members in each corridor so that we can maintain safe and secure, or what we consider sight and sound supervision. Because at this time, there is no wavering with our students and our staff members' safety in this building. It is the number one concern for us as well.
I got you.
But if that was a hill I want to climb up, I'll climb up it every day, because I want to go home to my family. And I'm sure they all want to go home to theirs. I'm sure my teachers want to go home to theirs. So if it takes me a little time to get these kiddos in the building, honestly, I think that's what we need to do, because we want to make sure that when parents say, what are you doing to keep my child safe? This is what we're doing. And it takes a little time for that to happen. I would much rather do that than anything to keep our building safe. So those are the small things that we're doing, but those are the nuances of maintaining a safe and secure learning environment that takes a little time. And once we can continue to get better at that, and time management and students coming directly in the building, we'll get faster. It's just like when we do fire drills. The efficiency of doing fire drills is how quick we can get out of the building.
Right.
So now we're working on how quick we can get students in the building. But we're not going to waver with the safety of a student, or not wand a kid, or not send a kid through the metal detector because I want my kid to get to class on time. No, I want my kid to get to class on time and safe, so that for the remainder of the day, everyone can go home at 4 o'clock. That's why.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I want to thank you for addressing my granddaughter's issues, because I know she has come to you several times about, and you are a student's principal. Thank you.
You caught me off guard with that one, but yes, I am. And she will commandeer you in the hallway until she gets what she wants. That's right, but I love it.
Are we going to have time to discuss the building of the new Georgeville?
I think we had a question about the new George with the new building. So,
Dana, would you like to speak in regards to the new George with?
Maybe one more, and then.
Pastor Winfrey, come on up. And then we'll do the building.
Good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
I think that a lot of things that we really don't know as a people and even as a community. And we talk about safety. In 1962, when the first George Wythe Sixth first came here, they had to be escorted by armed guards just to be able to come into the building. And not only that, they had to be escorted from class to class. And to go through what they have gone through, and I've talked to several of them, and some of them don't even want to regurgitate what happened during that particular time. But they set the precedence for what education is all about now for people that look like us. We need to make sure that we be participatory from the community. I stopped complaining about what the school board is not doing. I've stopped complaining about what the principal were not doing. And I said, let me do what I can do and what the community can do to make a difference. I'm not one of, I don't support having a policeman in the building. Let's get some people from the community, Miss May Lizard, that live down the street, that know the kids, and that can get them to come to school and get them to come to class. This is not a prison. It's not a prison. It ought to be a friendly place. For the most part, at one time, this was a safe place when kids didn't have anywhere else to go. They would come to school. If no more, then they get a sandwich out of the cafeteria. But now it's so dangerous because one of the things we don't do, and I hope I'm not offending anybody, but if it's the truth, just let it be said. We deal with violence all the time, but we don't have a violence prevention program in the city. We don't have peer mediations, peers that can relate to other peers. That's something that we need. We need more people from the community. I think that every church, every synagogue, every temple has the responsibility to help the schools. And I wouldn't say this if I wouldn't put my money where my mouth is. Since the beginning of the school, we purchased two items, a washing machine and a dryer, because they said they need one. And so that's why we'll do that. And I'm not tooting my own horn. The other thing is that there are those persons who may not have the monies or the resources. Principal O's already knows, if anyone is hungry, I promise you, we got you. And see, we have adopted George Wythe High School. Adoption does not mean bringing turkeys during Thanksgiving and toys during Christmas. That means all the time. When we had SOLs, did we not bring fruit trays for every teacher that's in the building? And again, I'm not tooting my horn, but I'm saying that it takes all of us to make this thing different. I would like to see a new building. I would like to see a new school, because when I go home, if my house is already jacked up, then I come to school and the school is jacked up, my learning process is not going to be. Lastly, we deal with a plethora of different denominations of people. And we had at one time at the old Elcott, we had a student international council. We had representatives from every particular country, and they would get together, and on certain days, we would have we have an international food day, where they would have all of the food that would test, and they would close down everything, and people would come by and test the food. And even during the time in the cafeteria, they would come in their regalia from their particular country, and they shared about what their country was all about. We need to go back to doing those kind of things. There has to be a cohesiveness between all of the races. We are dichotomized. But we need to come together. We need to support from the school board. We need to make better decisions. We need to support from, and see what the school board is doing. The principal's hands are shackled. They do so much. Loose the shackles and let them free. The other thing is that we have some teachers, I don't mean no harm, some teachers need to retire. Because I'm not pointing fingers, because, let me say this, because of the retirement age and the stage, some of them are staying on because they can't go anywhere else right now. They're trying to, but at the results of our kids getting inadequate education. So why not look at trying to lower the retirement age so that we can have capable of teachers that are able to work with our kids? The last thing is, why not get people from the community to come in? Now, I talked to Ms. Harris one time before about that. They want us to get approved by going through it and get the criminal background check. But you have to put a criminal background check for the community. You don't have a criminal background check for the teachers. So if that's something that you want us to do and we want to volunteer, then give us a pass on coming in and getting the criminal background check if you want to make a difference. Principal Old, you know, and every other principal that's been here in the last 5 years, you know you have our support. But we can do it better when we do it together. Thank you.
So I think that's a nice segue into passing things to Ms. Fox, who will talk about the new school.
Sure, thank you. My name is Dana Fox. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Richmond Public Schools. I want to thank Mr. Olds for inviting me here, and Kim Wilson is in the operations office. She is serving as the project manager for the George Wythe project. I did also want to just give a thank you to our custodial team who is working late here this evening. I see you over there. So just wanted to give thanks to him. And please make sure you throw your trash away and help him out so he can get out of here at a reasonable time. I am a product of Southside Schools. I'm a graduate of Meadowbrook High School. And so it's nice to see the cheerleaders here and the band and their ROTC. It brings back sweet memories of Meadowbrook playing George Wythe. So with that said, I'm happy to take any questions about the construction project, but I'll just give you a brief sort of up to date synopsis of where we are. These displays that you see here, this is the first time these have been shown. I literally unpackaged them when I got here. So we have our site plan over there as the first board. It's brand new. That's what's been approved. And then the elevations, which is the outside of the buildings, those are specific now to George Wythe. So the renderings that you've seen previously, those were just sort of, this is what it might look like. Those are what George Wythe will look like. So that's very, very exciting, along with the floor plans that are over there. And then towards the end here, you can't see it for the screen, but is the interior color selection that was chosen by our community engagement meetings and voted on. And a huge shout out to our Office of Engagement team for canvassing neighborhoods and doing all the things that they always do so wonderfully at. So thank you guys for that. So please take a look at all of these boards. Happy to take any questions for that. The current status for construction, we have submitted our final exterior plans to the Urban Design Committee. That is a required step with the city. We have answered their questions and we present our final presentation to them next week. And with their approval, we will move on to the Planning Commission. And then with their approval, we will be done with that segment. So we can move on to finishing up our design drawings. We're about 50% complete with our design drawings and just making sure that we finalize some things with the Planning Commission before we move forward. With that being said, I've heard a lot of questions asking when. I want to make sure we note that we get the money for George Wythe on July 1, and we intend to have our groundbreaking ceremony this summer. I want to be careful with that because I do really, I would love to see the band and the color guard and the cheerleaders and everyone out for our groundbreaking ceremony. So I want to make sure we don't schedule it during the summer when everyone is not here. So we will work on something, but that is going to be a phenomenal event. I'm very much looking forward to it, but we are in the process of submitting those plans to the city for the site work, and site work being currently on the athletic field. There's a very large 72 inch doesn't sound very big, but is a huge pipe that is going underneath the current football field, along with another pipe parallel to that. So we have to relocate that entire span to the perimeter of the property. So that is a little bit of work that has to be done before we can even prep the building pad. So it's just part of the phase 1 of this. But we will be breaking ground on that this summer. So I will say that after June, the fields, the track, the football fields, all of that will be out of commission. So I know that's disappointing for your sports teams, but it's also very exciting for what's to come. So I'm very much looking forward to being a part of this charge and delivering a world-class, state-of-the-art School of the Arts, and happy to take any questions on that.
Ms. Fox, I think it's probably best. We're already past time. This was scheduled to end at
great.
7:30.
Okay.
Mr. Olds, is there a hard time that we need to be out of this building? Now?
Not really, but
We're
I
past.
would like to respect everyone's time. It is late, but
Thank you.
if you have any questions or any concerns, please do not hesitate to email myself or give the school a call, and any one of us can address your issues or concerns, or just want to say hi. Yes, ma'am.
One quick question. I don't know if you all are aware, but they're building 241 apartments on Hall Street, right above Warwick.
Pardon me. Just want a gentle reminder that if you don't speak into an open mic, people that are watching through Zoom and YouTube are not able to hear, and the interpreters as well. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm wondering, are you aware that they are building about a 240 unit apartments on the other side of Warwick on Hall Street? They're building about the same off of Midlothian behind the McDonald's, and also on Jank Road. Now, I don't know what impact this will have on, yes. So I think you were saying that you're building a school for like 1,600 kids, 18? Go back to the 2000. That's what they're gonna need, because those kids from those apartments, and some of those kids is gonna come to George Wythe. And I'm gonna go ahead and say what I have to say.
Yeah.
School board and city council need to be aware of what's going on in our city. They need to be working together for the sake of the kids in the city of Richmond. Right now, I don't have any kids in the city of Richmond. I have great grands that goes to some of the Richmond public schools. Then I have some that is in Chesterfield and some that is in Henrico. But I am concerned when I see different stuff. I just love Richmond Public School. I'm a graduate from Miguel Walker, the true Miguel Walker. But I just wanted you all to be aware of what's going on in this area. So you might have to go back and do your drawing plans a little different, because it's going to be overcrowded, okay?
If I may, on the capacity. So yes, we have a floor plan currently for 1,800 students. However, the building is structured for 2,000 capacity.
Okay.
So to have a 2,000 capacity, we would need to add 8 classrooms to meet that requirement. We have laid out the building so that if we get to that point, it will be very easy for us to throw up a wall to separate spaces to add those 8 classrooms. In terms of the 2,000 capacity, that is taken into account for all of the restrooms that are in the building, for the gymnasium, for the auditorium. So in theory, it is able to hold 2,000 because that was part of the ordinance. Although as it's shown right now for classroom space, it's at 1,800, but we do have the ability to move up for the 2,000 capacity.
Okay, just want to make you aware. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And maybe you're a classmate of my mother who also graduated from Maggie Walker.
What year?
My mother is 74.
So she
You know,
graduated.
she's probably older than you are then. Yeah, a lot older, right?
Just by 2 years.
Just by 2 years. Okay, yes. So I want to just state that I'm incredibly happy to see you all here. I feel like this conversation was constructive. It was positive, and now our school can see that the community is willing to come in and help. And I think that, as long as this is a community effort, things are going to really turn around for this school. I've seen evidence that it's turning around already. And I'm appreciative to the administration here and to all of the teachers who are here every day working hard, day in and day out. And tonight was a good time to show all the wonderful things that are happening in George Wythe, because the media, for some reason, is having a hard time doing that. So this is wonderful. I'm just so excited for the future. Mr. Olds, do you have any last words?
I think this crowd speaks for itself. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the superintendent, Ms. Rizzi, Ms. Page. Councilman Lynch, where are you? Ms. Jones, where are you? Thank you. This was a absolutely phenomenal event. I say again, we know that sometimes we can be up against the trouble, but we're in this together. Our kids deserve a quality school. They deserve quality teachers. They deserve a quality building. And we're going to continue to fight hard to give them that and to be the advocates that they need. And ultimately, we're going to change the narrative at George Wythe High School. Thank you all for being here. Now, we do have some real quick prizes to give away.
Mr. O's, before you start that part of the program, I just would like to say thank you. Thank you to the staff. Thank you to Mr. O's, superintendent, the school board representatives that are here, Ms. Rizzi, myself, Ms. Jones, former school board members, Ms. Elps, Pinckney Elps, and Ms. Taylor. But again, to the community at large, I just cannot thank you enough because I know we care. I know we care about our students, and I know that we care about the success of our students. The new building, we haven't decided on the name yet, so I'm just gonna call it the new building. But just as Mr. O said tonight, change the narrative. Because if you always hear the same thing, negative comments in your mind, we start believing that. And our young people, they deserve better than that. And I'm not gonna get on my soapbox, but I just want to say thank you for the time that we have shared, everyone that has played a part in putting this together. And I just want to let you know my ties go deep, real deep to this school. And I'm a part of the team and will always be a part of the team. So with that being said, I'm gonna hand it over to Mr. O's and Superintendent Cameron. Maybe you want to say something?
I just want to say thank you, everybody. So appreciate everyone being out here tonight. I know it's not easy coming out. Very grateful to you all. And let's make this the beginning of lots of meetings just like this to make sure that we're able to achieve everything that Principal Olds outlined in his vision. So thank you.
So, drum roll. So, so we have a couple of prizes to give away. We have some gifts from the community engagement office, and then we have a TV to give away. Say yay! Yay! So if I call your number, please come up at this time. So let's see the first number. You got to be here. 683-008.
Say it one more time.
All right. Yes, Mr. Gill. Yay. Right here. Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Next. Okay, you got to hang around for the TV. 683-009. Yay! Okay. Thank you. And then give her your name. Next, I'm gonna move fast. 683-005. 005. Nope. 683-037. Okay. 683-042. might have to give somebody just to be giving it in a minute. 683-018. They went home. 683-033. Woo! Thank goodness. All right. Keep hope alive. 683-028. All right. Okay. Getting closer. 683-032. Once, twice. 683-030. 683-044. All right. 683-035. Getting closer. 683-043. No. 683-017. We about there. All right, this next one is for the big TV, so please, but I want y'all to scream. 683-021. Please be here, somebody. 683-026. 026. No? I'm gonna make it easy. 034. 683-034. Okay, what tickets left? I'm just saying. 683-004. 683-006. I'm just gonna do the last three numbers. 027. Nobody.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Huh?
There we go.
Okay. All right. There he is. Thank you so much. The TV.
Oh, the TV is yours.
Yeah. All right. That's it. That's it. Well, we just want to thank you all for coming out tonight. If I was at church, I would say something, but.
Could we also give Ms. Robinson, who organizes, a really big hand?
Thank you.
Thank you. You're great.
Thank
You're
you
wonderful.
all. It was my pleasure. If y'all want to grab some more to eat, we appreciate you all coming out tonight. At this time, Mr. O's will do the last remarks.
And also thank you to the Office of Engagement. We really appreciate you. This was a wonderful, wonderful